Right on real. The hipster plague is sweeping the city. What do they want? And what's with all that facial hair? And high heels. Most women have worn them, some men have worn them, but why on earth would anyone want to wear them? Hi, I'm Adrienne and welcome to La Trobe University's all-new season of Real, the program that investigates Melbourne's diverse culture from the perspective of young people. Also tonight, we look at how Australians have adopted Japan's popular culture of kawaii. Tonight we'll be exploring the concept that what we wear on the outside has the ability to reflect what's going on inside. We'll also look at the ways fashion can contribute to our sense of identity and belonging. Let's start at the high end of town with a look at fashion designers and the way they influence our sense of self.
Designers are catalysts for style, known for creating fads and trends. But do they cater to everyone and their sense of identity and individuality, or is it just conformity towards the mainstream? We took to the streets to see what the public thought of this matter.
Yes, I completely think they dictate what we wear as well. They tell us what to wear and we wear it.
People gotta make up their own style, their own fashion, dress how they want. And that's what I believe is the most important factor in life.
I mean, you can have here and there some dresses or whatnot, but I think a lot on the catwalk is very unique.
I guess it's kind of their decision. They've got the power in the situation, so whatever they do flows, I guess.
After hearing what the public thought, we connected with Australian fashion designer Alastair Trung to hear about how he designs clothing and how important identity is when it comes to fashion.
I think for me, the individual is the most important thing, and to have that respect for the individual. I mean, for me, it's not about the brand. I mean, there's this constant talk of the brand. There's a lack of self-confidence. People don't know who they are. Their identity is sort of confused. They're caught up on things that actually don't really matter. People are caught up on this idea of perfection. Every single day I get confronted with these questions, and the main issue is about identity. They feel very disconnected with what they're buying, but they're still buying. But I think it's a role of the designer. It's a responsibility of the designer to maybe start to think about this and figure things out a bit, and then try to give people another frame of reference.
It seems that a fair majority of consumers are overloaded with the latest fashion and trends, disconnecting them from their identities. The responsibility of reconnecting one with their identity lies within the designer's hands.
So what is identity? Identity covers personal conception and expression. We're looking at personal, social and cultural identity and all things that make up our individuality. In Melbourne, we have our fair share of punks, goths, skaters, ravers, all with their own unique dress codes. Let's take a look at what fashion means to some of our counter-cultural Melbourneites. Melbourne is a thriving city with many different cultural activities and venues. We love our sport, like a game of AFL at the G. Music is another big one, with multiple music venues all over Melbourne, and not to mention having a good coffee in the morning. What Melbourne also boasts is an urban multiculturalism within its population, with various clothing styles that creates a sense of belonging and reflects their identity. From all of this comes countercultures, styles that don't stick with the status quo. Alternative counterculture has been around since the 1970s, originating in the UK, the US, and right here in Australia.
I do photography, so I'm all about creativity and stuff, so yeah, I don't know, I express myself through how I dress.
Yeah, absolutely. I like having cool clothes. I like it.
It's cool.
It's fun. It's just a bit something fun you can do with your day and with your appearance, and it's just something
There's
that
no
you
point
can
being
own.
boring.
Exactly.
Saying before, you don't think it kind of reflects who you are, but do you think any sort of thing that you're wearing does reflect?
I don't know, it does, but then I'm a really sweet person, so it's really conflicting, so I don't know.
Because she's really cute and lovely, and then
so it doesn't really make sense.
Goth queen.
It's like an alter ego. I don't know.
About yourself?
Finding individual, pieces from op shops and stuff, because no one else has it.
Yeah, that's what I miss about not living in the city is the op shops.
Of course, you can't talk about subculture in the city without talking about the hipster. It seems like there's one on every corner. But for today's hipsters, it's all about the beards. Let's see what it takes to be a modern hipster.
The term hipster originated in the 1940s, where it describes middle-class 20 and 30-somethings who were bored with the normality of everyday life, so decided to embrace jazz culture, alternate music, new age literature, and urban fashion. Today, the term is commonly associated with glasses, soy lattes, and a band you've probably never heard of. But what does it actually mean to be a hipster? Who better to ask than a bunch of 20-somethings living in Melbourne?
A like of good coffee.
Collection of vinyl records.
Jeans that come pre-damaged.
Sport locks.
Beard, lumberjack, you know, trying to regain old ideas of manhood.
Glasses that I'm modelling currently.
They all have a copy of Lolita.
If you're in Melbourne, inner north suburb, Brunswick, shooting on location today.
A fixed gear bike.
Hipster is someone that just like finds a trend and gets into it hardcore and they think that they're amazing, so. And I guess that's pretty Melbourne.
I think it could just mean someone who has a taste that doesn't align with the mainstream. And that sounds really pretentious, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's people who are pretentious.
If everybody has a couple of traits of hipsterdom in them, and everybody has a different idea of what a hipster is, the word doesn't really have any meaning anymore.
Definitely used to be trendy, but now it's just people wanting to belong to the culture of what is Melbourne.
And fashion is probably a really good signifier, because it can be superficial. It can just be someone looking at someone and going, you dress like that, you're a hipster.
Oh yeah, there'll always be hipsters around, but what they wear will change.
Welcome back to Real. Tonight we've been looking at fashion and the role it plays in giving us a sense of identity or belonging. Sanrio, creator of pop icon Hello Kitty, recently made the shocking announcement that Hello Kitty is not actually a cat, despite the fact that she has pointy ears and whiskers. Huh? If you ever went to school with a Hello Kitty pencil case in your backpack, then you've already had a small taste of kawaii, Japan's pop culture phenomenon of embracing everything cute. What you might not know is just how popular kawaii has gotten right here in Australia.
Kawaii is the Japanese word for cute.
Culture.
It looks really fun. I like it. It's so cute.
Over the last 100 years, many fashion styles and trends have come and gone. Kawaii is a style that has come out of Japan in recent years. It stems from a culture of cute and adorableness reflected in a person's fashion.
Kawaii is the Japanese term for cute, but it's become a huge fashion kind of subculture in Japan and most of the places around the world.
Just really colourful, happy things because it just brightens up your day.
I express my appreciation for the subculture and things through the way that I dress and the way that I like decorate, and mostly like on my blog, and I'm just really inspired by it. The time to put your makeup on can vary on like the style that you're doing. Like Gyaru makeup takes like a lot longer than like Decora makeup would. Decora is the subculture kawaii fashion of wearing a lot of accessories, so like really bright like bracelets and necklaces and bows. Today I'll be doing just like a simple kawaii dolly eye look. It's really sought after to have really big eyes in the kawaii culture because they're like big, dolly and innocent, just like the porcelain dolls that a lot of the style is based off.
I think the person that most inspires me, who probably inspires most Japanese girls and Australian girls and American girls for kawaii and J-pop is Kyary Pamyu Pamyu.
I was first exposed to the kawaii culture when I discovered Kyary Pamyu Pamyu's music videos and her music.
These are her CDs. I actually got these in Tokyo. Pretty much like in every store in Tokyo her music is playing, so it's kind of like hard to get away from her. She's like the biggest Japanese pop star at the moment. Kyary is probably like the best example of kawaii and like Harajuku style because she's just so out there. And I just really like, she's got like that cute side as well, but then she's got like a really creepy, scary style. If you think about like Katy Perry or like Lady Gaga, they kind of, I think, have taken their inspirations a lot from maybe Japanese culture and things like that.
Due to an increased popularity in Japanese television, media and style, a niche subculture based around this has been adopted in Melbourne, which is best expressed at pop culture shows like the Melbourne Supernova exhibition.
Today at Supernova we are looking at the pop culture. Lots of people come dressed up to, just to like express their love for a character in a TV show, which is really awesome, and share it with other people.
I'm Gumi from Vocaloid.
I'm dressed as Aoba Seragaki from Dramatical Murder.
I'm Gamaguri from Kill la Kill.
Today I'm not dressed as like a specific character or anything, I just kind of wanted to test out like a Lolita kind of style.
I'm wearing a sort of classic / sweet Lolita outfit.
Lolita is the style of dressing like really big tutus and that kind of thing. You have tea parties and it's really ladylike. Lolita is related to kawaii culture in the sense that it was probably one of the original funding bases for the kawaii culture to exist. Because I think it kind of spurred from like the French maid kind of outfit, but not, as sexy.
We're at Supernova today because we love cosplaying.
It's lots of fun and like it's a great place to be all together, meeting new friends.
I've been cosplaying back in my country, that I would like to try cosplaying here.
I came here to do some shopping and look at cute stuff.
The Asian culture side is really strong at Supernova because a lot of people are here to buy and just like share their love and that kind of thing for anime and manga, which obviously originates in Japan. My room is like a museum of everything Japanesey and anime.
Yeah, I've actually been watching anime since I was 8, so that's been a huge influence in my life.
I do wear quite a lot of Japanese fashion.
There are definitely two sides when it comes to the like kawaii culture spreading into like the Western civilization. It's really interesting to hear the sides of the people who work within Japan and like in the stores and that kind of thing, because they really want it to be expressed all the way around the world, and people are really inspired by it. And so I think it's really important that people see that they aren't doing exactly the same thing and they're like putting their own spin on it.
I don't think that the Japanese girls really mind about like Western or like westernized versions of what they're doing. When I was like in Tokyo, they're very Western. I think they really like take on European and American culture, so they get really excited when they see like maybe Western people taking on their culture.
Dr. Lydia Tanaka, Japanese cultural specialist at La Trobe University, says that younger people are embracing the concept of kawaii as they are looking for something different, and Japan provides that.
The kawaii style, like many things, could just be seen as just like a phase.
Even like when you look back at like the 70s and 80s, there was always a phase that happened that like your parents will always talk about and go, oh my god, I can't believe I dressed like that.
Similar to like grunge and like punk and that kind of thing. They haven't really disappeared, but people have like adapted and like changed them, and they don't openly express it as much as they used to.
And I think it's always going to be like a part of who I am, but maybe when I'm 30 I'm not going to be dressing the same way that I am now.
After the break, we talked to Kaori Okano, Professor of Asian Studies at La Trobe University, for her unique take on the way fashion relates to cultural identity. Welcome back to Real. Tonight we've been looking at fashion and what it means to our society. Does fashion help us to create an identity? Does it help us fit in with our friends or our community? Would it be easier just to walk around naked? Joining us today to shed some light on all of this is Kaori Okano, a Professor of Asian Studies at La Trobe University. Thanks for joining me on Real tonight, Kaori.
My pleasure.
Japanese culture has become very popular in Melbourne, especially in young adults. What is it about Japan that is so attractive to these Australians?
I think actually there has been a lot of studies done on this by anthropologists, partly because it is so different. And world pop culture has been dominated by what came up from North America and Europe to date, until perhaps 20 years ago. What Japanese popular culture is somewhat different. It's kind of exotic, oriental, different, and yet it comes out from the society which is highly industrialized, postmodern, and high-tech. So the whole image of the combination of something different, oriental, and so on, and the scientific, high-tech, etc., is quite appealing in a sense that it is cool to young people here.
Definitely. It's definitely cool. And kawaii is a trend in Japan, particularly in Tokyo and Harajuku.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? What's the appeal of kawaii?
Well, do you find it appealing?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
I love Hello Kitty and Pokemon.
Okay, right. I know that some Anglo-Western women don't like kawaii because kawaii might be interpreted as not empowering, somebody trying to be little cutie, innocent being, reluctance to grow up, not taking a responsibility, all kinds of features that one can associate with immaturity. Okay, but I think the attraction of kawaii to Japanese women and men in Japan, among young women and here, is that it allows them to be someone that they are not allowed to be in the real world. Obviously, you're working in some workplace, office, and so on. You're supposed to conform to the norms. You're supposed to use a particular set of language using honorifics to the boss, subordinate, etc., etc. But by being kawaii, and then Harajuku Park, the place offers that space where they are allowed to be whatever they want to be.
Kawaii is feminine, but never sexualized. Why do you think that is?
Very good question. Woman, it is innocent, innocent looking, and yet it's quite feminine. And I guess the reason why the kawaii appeal to some of the women here in Australia is that some young women may be rather tired of being required to show their sexuality or they sexualize themselves. So being kawaii can be feminine, but you don't have to be sexy in order to be feminine. So it's in a way an alternative ways of being feminine.
A fun way of being feminine.
That's right.
The trend has come out of modern Japan. What do you think about the concepts of globalization and consumerism in kawaii fashion?
The Sanrio is the major kawaii industry in Japan, which has produced Hello Kitty, among other things. They have made so much money out of this.
Yes.
You can see the Hello Kitty products all over the world right now. So it certainly assisted the spread of kawaii culture to the rest of the world.
Do you think people like to dress a certain way on the outside to reflect what's inside?
Yes, to a certain extent, when given a safe space where they can do so. Obviously, you can't dress how you want to dress to reflect your inside at the wedding or in a formal situation or at workplace. But in a places like Yoyogi Park or Supernova Festival, you can do so. And I think this is a great opportunity for young people to express themselves and then to feel a sense of empowerment by doing so.
And lastly, if you would wear any sort of kawaii fashion, what would you dress like?
Good question. I used to wear kawaii fashion when I was teenage.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is 8 years ago. I guess I had to be given a safe space where I can get dressed kawaii, and I might go for very cute teenage style of Victorian Britain. I would like that.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining me, Kaori Okano. It was great hearing your insights.
My pleasure.
Julia Pletcher was recently entered into the Guinness Book of World Records for doing a 100-metre sprint in high heels. The German teenager clocked the race in just under 15 seconds and miraculously managed not to break either of her ankles in the process. But fashion isn't always fun and games, you know. In fact, sometimes it can be a downright pain in the ass.
I work for a small legal firm, so I have to present myself professionally. When I first got the job, I wasn't sure if I could pull it off, you know, the whole professional thing. I felt outside of my comfort zone. What is it with office jobs and suits? Who decided that just because you work in an office, you have to wear the least comfortable clothes ever made? I suppose there is a kind of empowerment that comes with putting on the uniform, but that's just what it is. A uniform. More than anything, I feel imprisoned. When I wear a suit, even my voice wears a suit. Yes, well, can I book you in for Thursday, 2 p.m? Yes, that's right, Thursday this week. All right, thank you. Bye. I get on the tram after work at night, and what do I see? Office workers taking off their work shoes and putting on sneakers. Why? Why not just wear sneakers? Who decided all of this? Who put a premium on style over comfort? Why can't I just be me? So what is me? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is me.
Yep, I know how she feels. High heels can be hell. But let's end the show on a high note with a look at some lovely ladies who are using their fashion fetish to make the world a better place.
I'm a little bit eccentric and I'm a collector, and it's always best to ask what I don't collect. My most recent passion has been collecting vintage Christian Dior hats. I decided that perhaps I'd like to have an afternoon tea, and it's sort of grown quite a lot since then, and we're having a fashion parade showing my hats, raising the awareness of youth suicide and having a bit of fun along the way.
I'm Latoya Asher and I'm a youth mentor. I get to work with kids and young adolescents and women as well to help them feel confident and help them with their self-esteem, their body image and their professional development. When Hats for Hope came about, I thought, isn't it a beautiful way for people to feel they can have their individuality with wearing something on their head. You know, they come in and say, Latoya, I'm here and I'm trying to find my individuality because you know, beautiful just the way you are.
My name's Jasmine Lake. I'm an ambassador for youth suicide. I get a sense of belonging through this kind of works. I feel that it's really helpful. I was a part of a group on Facebook for youth suicide, and it's just where youth are allowed to go to vent. It's non-judgmental and it's brilliant.
I think women like fashion because they like to be individuals, they like to dress up, preen and just have a bit of fun with it all. You know, most of the time we just run around looking like mums wearing, you know, black, the black uniform.
Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show and that you'll join us again next week for more insights into youth culture. I'm Adrienne, and this has been Real. Good night.